The following interview is being conducted as part of the Price of Freedom Oral History Series, sponsored by the Madison County Military Heritage Commission to inform the public of the sacrifices made by veterans in our community on battlefields around the world. Each veteran received a Valor Award for their heroism during combat and is a member of the Military Heritage Hall of Heroes. I want to thank the Madison County Commission for their help in presenting this Military Heritage Program and ETV for providing services in the taping of the interview. Hello, I'm Tom Kennemer. Welcome to our program. Today we'll be paying tribute to the late U.S. Army Command Sergeant Major Robert Parks. Sergeant Major Parks served 30 years in the Army Special Forces and was awarded the Bronze Star with Valor for his bravery in combat while serving in Vietnam. He was also awarded the Purple Heart for wounds he received during combat. The Sergeant Major was nominated for several other Valor Awards, including the Silver Star, but because of the secrecy of the missions at the time, details of the action were never entered into his service record. Sergeant Major Parks passed away in 2022 and was inducted posthumously into the Hall of Heroes in 2024. Joining us today to talk about his friend and fellow soldier Robert Parks is retired U.S. Army Brigadier General Joseph Stringham. General Stringham served 32 years as an airborne Ranger infantryman and Special Forces officer. He was inducted into the Ranger Hall of Fame in 1995 and the Special Forces Hall of Fame in 2010. He and his wife Sandy now make their home on Cumberland Mountain in northeastern Alabama. General Stringham, it's a pleasure to have you with us, sir. Thank you
my
for coming
privilege.
and being with us. Appreciate it very much. Talk a little about Command Sergeant Major Parks. You served with him, I think, in El Salvador. Is that correct? Talk a little about that.
In El Salvador, and we were in the same unit in Vietnam, too.
Yes, sir.
We were at MACSOG in Vietnam. El Salvador was, of course, a very unpopular war, which we incidentally won. And he was the Command Sergeant Major of the General Officer Commander of U.S. Southcom, General Fred Warner. And also, he was the Command Sergeant Major of the 3rd of the 7th Special Forces Group Battalion in Panama at the time. And I worked for General Warner in Panama, and then later on we all went to Sergeant Major Parks, Spider, and I went to El Salvador to do the war in El Salvador.
What was your rank then, General?
I was a colonel.
Okay.
I was a Mill Group commander in El Salvador.
Okay, yeah. And so you served and how long was that mission? How long did you serve together?
Well, I've got it here. The war in El Salvador went on for a long time. Actually, it started with a soccer war in '77, but it went on as kind of a hot war from '82 to, I think it was the Chapultepec Accords in Mexico City in '92, which brought the resolution to the whole conflict.
What was the mission then in El Salvador? What were you
Mission
trying
in
to
El
accomplish?
Salvador, our mission, and very importantly, the Special Forces carried the load on this thing, was to train the Salvadoran army. They didn't have an army. They had a bunch of people running around with National Guards and civil defense and everything else, and it was kind of a mess. But we put an army together for them, is what we did, and trained them. Most importantly, and this is Sergeant Major Parks' area, we developed the non-commissioned officer corps in the Salvadoran Army. And they're noted for this, and they served well in Arabia many years later, and were recognized as an outstanding asset. Of course, the United States Army, the infantry especially, depends on the
Right.
non-commissioned officer corps as a corps. As a corps.
Yeah, yeah. Were you and Sergeant Major in the same unit within this mission, or how?
Sure. Yes, we were. That's a very good question.
Yeah.
First of all, in Panama, Sergeant Major was Sergeant Major of the 3/7th Special Forces Group, and I was a deputy CG of the U.S. Army forces in Panama. The Army made a decision to send me to El Salvador, and already the 3/7th was carrying the load of the training the Special Forces guys are carrying the load of the training in El Salvador.
Uh-huh.
At, very much in the direction of, under the direction of Sergeant Major Parks, Spider Parks. He goes by the name Spider. We all call him Spider.
I was going to get to that later, but I'll go ahead and ask you, do you know how he got that name? I mean,
Yeah, I do know. It's a family thing.
Oh, okay.
And it followed him into the services, and of course, he went into the recon business, and what a better name for a guy in a recon business, but Spider.
Well, a private or a corporal wouldn't call him Spider. But
Oh, no.
when you served with Sergeant Major Parks, what stood out as his leadership abilities?
He was first of all, he was a real bright guy. Very quiet, but very bright. Yeah. And he directed, he was very good in dealing with people at all levels.
Uh-huh.
He could deal with the general, and 1 hour later, he's talking to me. But as you and I talked about privately early on, you know, what the sergeant major says to the colonel are sometimes not for public dissemination.
Right. Those frank discussions, so to speak.
Very frank discussions. And he was very, very good at that, and very quick to get a hold of me in those regards and say, hey, Colonel, you got to watch out for X, Y, Z. Or we shouldn't have done this, do this.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he's talking to the general.
Never told you that in front of the men.
Oh,
between
no.
Yeah.
But he was very, as I said, he was a very bright guy, but he was also very firm in his resolve to make sure that the message got across.
Right, yeah. Now, so was that the only time that you didn't serve together in Vietnam, did you?
No, well, we didn't. I mean, in Vietnam, the Max SOG, that was your recon teams, and you know you don't see each other at all, hardly, unless you're on a 5-man team or in the Mike Force, as I was.
Yeah.
And so you don't cross paths that much.
That's
when
true.
you do, you do, and of course we remember that. But
you can be in the same country, but don't necessarily cross paths.
You could be
Yeah.
and different missions.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And,
how long was the mission in El Salvador?
In El Salvador, how long was that assignment there?
Yeah.
Well, of course, the war actually went from 82 to 92.
Right.
And normally people spent a year in duty when they served in El Salvador, or on TD when they were temporary duty there. A lot of people on temporary duty there. Interestingly enough, and this was one of the things that really saddled with Sergeant Major Parks, we had a very strict limit on our numbers, and it was 55 was the top. And if we didn't go above 55. As one ambassador said to me, he asked me if I understood what 55 was, and I said, yes, sir. And he said, well, let me explain it to you the way I see it. At that time, you go to 56, you're going to be the second guy to leave town. And of course, he's the president's representative.
Right, yeah.
And Spider talked with him and with General Warner and so forth.
They respected his opinion. He was.
Oh, yes, indeed they did.
Yeah.
When they went, he went with them.
Now, although you didn't serve together anymore, did you stay in touch with one another? You know.
Oh yes, indeed. Yeah. Here in Alabama, especially. Of course, we have a veterans coffee that we have been gone back 5 years. Lee Sailors, a Marine Corps guy, put it together, and it kind of passed off to Spider when Lee died. And we get together. We still do once a month, and just camaraderie more than anything.
Yeah.
Because we know each other. We know what we did and everything.
Yeah.
But and every once in a while something comes up, and says, "Hey, do you know about this?" And I say, "Yeah, I knew this guy," and sometimes
the connection.
and we make the connections. Sometimes we can help.
Yeah.
and sometimes we have helped.
Yeah. That's what it's all about. Your veterans are helping one another, even in service and out of service as well.
Or the United helping the government too. You know?
Yeah. But you never had many discussions, although you didn't serve together while you were both still in service. Would you occasionally call?
Oh, we did in service during El Salvador and in Panama, where we were serving together.
Right. And afterward, even in Vietnam, every now and then call him up, or he'd call
sure.
you, or
sure.
To get your opinion on something.
And share experiences too. We were in the same place at the same time, doing the same thing, but not elbow to elbow, so to speak.
I understand. Yes, sir. Now, after his retirement, Sergeant Major Parks made several trips back to Vietnam.
Yes, indeed.
And Laos, seeking information on fellow soldiers who never made it back home.
Yes, indeed.
Did he ever consult with you or seek your advice regarding those?
I'm glad you asked that question.
Yes, sir.
I'll share a story I had.
Yeah, please do.
And my last contact is Spider before he went over. We all wanted him to stop going over there. And I said that we were having a cup of coffee over in the Legion Hall one moment. And I said, "Hey, Spider, why don't you just take it easy and not keep going back over there?" And he said, "It's an obsession with me." And that's all I needed to hear from the Sergeant Major. Hey, enough said. I'm not bringing it up anymore. And in our group, I said, "Hey, let's just drop any further conversations about Spider going over there on his MIA business."
Something he had to do. Yeah.
He said in his words, an obsession.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How many trips did he make back? Do you know, General?
No, I don't know the exact number, but I know 5 that he made for sure. And he
What did he find out? Did he talk to you about what he found out, or was he making progress he felt, or?
He was very tight-lipped about it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure you understand why.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But on occasion, he would say, we went to Langvay or some place like that. And I really thought we would be successful, but we were not. And that was kind of most of the conversations we had on his assumed mission with the MIA program.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he funded himself significantly enough.
Right. Yeah.
And he worked he was very diligent in that. That was his number one priority, his obsession.
Something he had to do. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. He couldn't quite leave the military. After retiring, he received his doctorate degree.
Yeah.
And worked with the Army for 15 years as a behavioral scientist and substance abuse professional. It's obvious he was still trying to help the men and women in uniform, and I'm sure that you saw that as well.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And as I said early on, he's a very bright guy.
Yeah.
So he knew a lot of stuff. He was multilingual. He spoke Spanish. He spoke Russian. And he had bits and pieces of other ones that was quite Vietnamese. And but he was very good had capability of assuming languages very quickly and
right.
using them.
Picked up on real quick.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But he worked very diligently with the active duty troops, taking care, looking out after their best interests, and in their retirement years, looking out after their best interests there too, helping them in their retirement years.
Yeah.
And just in our coffee group here in Huntsville, he is pivotal in that. He's one of the pivotal people, John Nolan being one of them. And of course, Lee Saylor is a Marine Corps guy who started the thing in the first place. But this is a very tight group.
Yes, sir.
And it isn't small either.
Right.
It's northern Alabama, Tennessee, and up that way. And when we get together, we enjoy each other's company. But every once in a while, as I said, somebody says, "Hey, did you know about this? Or did you hear about Joe Smith?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
somebody said, yeah, what happened? And then it starts to come out. And then the next thing is there anything, has anybody talked to the family?
Right. Can you do something? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Brings up old memories.
Or not.
Or not. Yeah. Some families prefer it.
Sometimes, and Spider was very good at that. He was very capable. He said, I think we better let that one go for a while.
Now, you served 32 years, and he served 30. Did both of you retire about the same time?
I retired in late '92.
92, yes, sir.
And I don't remember exactly when Spider retired.
Yeah. How did you get started? The get-togethers.
Well, it was quite by chance. I live way out in Cumberland Mountains, so people
pretty good ways from here, yeah.
Huntsville don't even know where I am at.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And I'm not. My wife and I are very happy just to be on Cumberland Mountain too. So we don't really
just stay up on the mountain, right?
The thing is, I can't really. In our association, we came together in this coffee, and Lee called us all up and got us together. Mm-hmm. And when Lee died, Spider took over the thing, and
right.
the group has grown. It's grown big. All services.
Yeah.
And
do you meet once a week or once a month? Or
once a month.
Once a month. Yeah. Yeah. And do you have a discussion about who buys or who pays? Flip a coin.
No, that's an interesting question too, and I'll tell you what happens. Somebody always picks up the bill.
Takes care of it.
Never know who does it.
Yeah.
And the waitress comes along for about 30 of us sitting there, and she comes around with our bill, and she says, "No, it's already been taken care of, and you don't know who did it." And
right. Yeah. Well, I know it was a sad time for all of you that knew Spider in his passing in 2022.
Very, very much.
Yeah. He. As you said,
very much.
Yeah, he was well thought of, from what I can gather. By.
Oh, he was very well thought of.
Yeah.
By all ranks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he, as I said, he's a very bright guy, a very knowledgeable soldier, but he was very firm.
Yeah.
And there was never any question of where Command Sergeant Major Parks was going with a certain issue or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious. He received a doctorate degree after service, and helped so many young people, or probably some people that maybe had served with him or knew of people, helping his the soldiers and the men and women that maybe served with him or even after he served.
Indeed.
So that was dedication. It really was.
And you hit on a thing of men and women, all ranks, all services.
Yeah, yeah.
And he looks after them all.
Yeah, I was reading that. He's raised, I believe it was in Texas, and he had studied was going to be an accountant, I believe, or something. I may be wrong about that, but anyway, never, from what I can read, that he had thought about being in the Army at a young age, but it just came about, and he served those 30 years honorably.
Well, he told me about it.
Okay.
And he and I came he and I went in the Army the same year.
Yes, sir.
57. And he was underage.
But he was dedicated back then, wasn't he?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yeah,
but he wanted to do it, and he did it.
Yeah.
And I actually never didn't know him at this time, but over the years when I was going through Ranger training, he was assigned to the Mountain Ranger Camp. Mm. Now, Ranger instructors and students don't associate, obviously,
right.
Except on a very professional,
yes,
personal
sir.
basis.
Yeah. That's it.
So I didn't really get a chance to get to know Sergeant Parks at that time. He was an NCO at the time.
Did he ever talk to you why he wanted to get in Special Forces? And did he I mean, there's a lot of other occupations or MOSs that you could do, but
in 63, 63, 4 and 5, when the war was starting to heat up, of course, he was an NCO on active duty. And he wanted to be part of the first team. And that's what he thought it was. And I'm not going to argue that one with him. Some people, other people might, but I kind of agree with him.
Right.
And that's why he went in and did, and the rest is history. He went to MACSOG, which is was one of the premier recon elements that we had in Vietnam.
Right. Yeah. And you started out in the Rangers too, and
yeah, I started. I wanted to be a Ranger from the time I went to West Point until the time I graduated, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, yeah. When did you go into West Point?
57.
67. Yeah, yeah. General Stringer, before we conclude our interview, I want to change our conversation somewhat. I'm sure Sergeant Major Parks would approve. We have a good many young people, students who watch our interviews, and they've suggested some questions from time to time to ask our veterans. And I want to pose some of those to you today.
Yes, sir.
First of all, describe what it's like to serve in a war zone, the thoughts you have of possibly being killed or wounded during a battle.
That's a very good question. It's a very difficult question. First of all, there are 3 levels of combat. We're at war all the time.
Yes, sir.
That's international. And then the military goes to war. But not all those people in the military are right down where the rubber meets the road. We're looking over the front side of a rifle. And then you got the guys in close combat, the fighter pilots, right, the infantrymen, and so forth. So you have those 3 levels. And down at where they make the movies is the 3rd level where the people are doing the fighting. The thing that you run into there in combat is the association with the guy next to you. And I don't care what your rank is, I don't care what the job is right now. You're in it together. And you're going to look out after each other together too. And believe me, it's a very strong bond. And that goes on a long time after we walk our separate ways in life. You remember the guy. I remember my radio operators very, very much. And
your life depends on it. You know,
yes, indeed, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And on the Special Forces 8 attachment, you're like that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody, and in fact, you're on first name basis. Mm-hmm. And so, in combat, you're very close to these guys because you depend on them, right, and they depend on you, mm-hmm, very much all the time. That's the best I can give you on that one.
Mm-hmm. Now, is it natural to be scared or afraid during combat? If so, how do you handle it?
Well, of course, there's your reflexes are going to do a lot of that for you.
Yeah.
Natural
reflexes.
Somebody, those guys all got down on the ground, and I said, yes, indeed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let me tell you a story about my radio operator. About the first beginning of the Tet Offensive. And we were locked in with a very large NVA unit. And night was falling, and there was a lull in the action, and he was doing his job as radio operator for me as a company commander. And he looked at me and he said, "Sir, how come you're not scared?" And I said, "Who told you I wasn't?" I said, "We'll be here tomorrow morning."
Yeah.
That's my answer really to the question. Yeah. Everybody has a natural reflex for survival.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that in close combat, that's what it's all about, yeah, personal survival.
Yeah, yeah.
And
training kicks in. So
training and of course that's the gut issue of what our non-commissioned officer corps does in the Army.
Yes, sir.
They train the individual soldier. Mm-hmm. I don't care everybody's on a team, you know. And it's all training that it becomes a conditioned response. It's in your DNA.
Right, yeah.
And that's really, in close combat, yeah, I guess you're afraid, but you got survival, that's self-survival and survival of the guy next to you. That's most important.
Yeah. General, you've had a long and proud military career. Do you often wonder, would you do it all over again?
I wouldn't switch a minute of it.
Right. No hesitation at all.
None at all.
Yeah.
It was my privilege, incidentally, to serve you.
Yeah. But there were times I imagine, oh, how to get in this mess. Yeah. I imagine it comes for all.
What am I doing here?
Yeah. What did I volunteer for? That sort of thing. Now you served in a war, and through the years, I'm sure you've seen a few war movies. Do you think war is depicted accurately in most of the movies or TV shows that you've seen?
Not really.
Yeah.
It's it's, as I said, it's a sensational thing for the close combats are really, or the fighter pilots or the Navy SEALs or so forth. That's what's really, it's exciting, to people to watch that.
Right.
But it does not. Doesn't.
Not accurate.
It's a no.
Some parts maybe,
It's somewhat, and otherwise, it's Hollywood, and they want to make it. As John Wayne said to the people when he made the movie The Green Berets, they said, "Well, that's not the way you're doing it," and he said, "Major, I make movies. You do your job. I'll do my job."
Yeah. That's the way it was. Do you have a lot of young people talk to you
Yes, I
to bring up these kind of questions? About maybe they're contemplating going into service or whatever.
Occasionally, not so much anymore, but yes, in the past I have, yes, and some of the same stuff you're asking me.
Yeah. Now, some of our combat veterans talk about the adjustment they have to make once they come home from a war zone. What was it like for you?
That's interesting. First of all, my first part of my early career, when I was a lieutenant and captain, I came home. I wasn't married, so I did it on my own, and there's a slight adjustment. All of a sudden, you have everything on your shoulders taken off your shoulders. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
There's nothing. Yeah. You don't have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's going to shoot a mortar at you, and nothing.
Yeah.
And it's a little hard it's a little difficult to deal with nothing. Now, some people have much greater problem dealing with that. Mm-hmm. They have dreams and all that kind of stuff. But I would say the family organizations make it a lot easier to accommodate that.
Yeah. What advice, General, would you give to young people who may be considering a life in the military?
I wouldn't think I'd do it.
Yeah.
Look around at what the type of job you could do, service you could do, and go do it.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you can stop anytime you want.
Yeah.
But it's an experience like you'll never get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful experience. An experience of dealing with other fellow Americans that are doing the same thing you are, particularly guys in close combat.
Yeah.
It's really a great experience. And, of course, you're serving the nation, too.
Right. A lot of benefits from it, too,
There's some benefits.
Now, would you agree that, it's not for everybody, though?
Oh, no, it's not for everybody.
Right.
No. Especially if you get in the combat units that are in the fighter pilot business or in the SEALs and so. That's a real challenging thing.
Yeah.
And a very personal thing, and you have to really want to do it. I wanted to be a Ranger.
Right. Yeah.
And that's.
Now, who was? Let me ask you this: who was influential in your life that encouraged you to go in the Army, to become, go in special forces? Who was?
Well, first of all, my mother wanted me. My mother said, "Why don't you try to go to West Point?" And I, I'm
Right.
junior in high school, so I don't know.
Where's West Point? Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
And the thing was like a snowball rolling down the hill after that. But from time to time, I would run into people, and one of my very close friends, his brother was a Ranger, and I just thought that was cool. And when I went to the academy, they wanted you to, the infantrymen especially wanted you to be an infantryman, and they wanted you to be a Ranger, and that was an easy sell for a lot of us. And but don't get me wrong, Ranger school's tough.
Wasn't a piece of cake, was it?
And it's still tough.
General Stringham, it's been a pleasure talking with you today, sir, and hearing your thoughts regarding the life of the late Command Sergeant Major Robert Parks. He was quite a man, I understand.
Yes, he
and
was.
I hope we've paid a tribute to him and other matters, of course, involving the military.
We all call him Spider, incidentally.
Spider, yeah. That's Command Sergeant Major Robert Spider Parks.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, we want to thank you, sir, for your service to our country. Also, if you'd like more information regarding this interview or any interview in our Military Heritage Series, please visit the Madison County Military Heritage Commission website at mcmhc.us. I'm Tom Kennemer. Thank you for joining us.